Hey, this is Ryan McDonald from Shea Digital, and this is digital marketing tip number 4, content marketing for political campaigns. A lot of political campaigns are advertising like it's 1998 or 2004, and not like it's 2018. I would have thought that when Barack Obama beat John McCain in 2008, I believe, a lot of people credited him with a strong digital marketing campaign. And back then, that was just like organizing your Facebook followers, being on Twitter, tweeting at people. It wasn't the advanced tactics today. It's only been 10 years since the 2008 election. And the landscape's dramatically different. I would dare to say that it's going to be hard to win a campaign if your ad dollars aren't primarily driven by digital spending. And there's a whole host of reasons for that, just in terms of like advertising effectiveness, right? With a billboard or with a radio ad, let's say, there's no high level, there's no like deepening of engagement, there's no building an audience, there's no remarketing funnel, there's no ease of conversion, there's terrible analytics, a whole host of issues. Like day-to-day control is hard. Once you buy a billboard, you bought the billboard, and typically billboard ads don't change very frequently, right? But if you put something up and it gets a negative message on, say, a Facebook ad or Instagram ad or Twitter ad, you can change that day of, take a couple hours, swap out the creative, send it back out. And what I really want to talk about today when it comes to content marketing is micro messaging content marketing on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We can go deeper. We can talk about YouTube, we can talk about LinkedIn, we can talk about, all the digital platforms, right? There's, for almost every single digital platform I can think of, a political strategy for it. Pinterest, granted, Pinterest isn't the first platform that pops in the head. It's only I would say if you have extra budget or a very healthy budget, you might want to come up with a Pinterest strategy. But for the normal political campaign covering Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, I'll just throw in YouTube. Those should be your bases. That's your first. Like, okay, let's cover those bases. What's left over? Then you start considering, okay, what about Pinterest? Okay. What about LinkedIn? What about these other platforms that are just starting to take off? Snapchat? Granted, Snapchat is more than taken off. But you get the idea. There's tier 1 and there's tier 2. And tier 1, for this example, is going to be your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, your YouTube. And so what do I mean when I talk about micro messaging? And this is where the power of these platforms combined with content marketing is really going to boost favorability ratings, traffic to the candidate's website, donations, shares, all this stuff. What I call micro messaging is creating pieces of content served for a specific audience that you know of beforehand, and that content is only served to that audience. All right. An example is if someone is very concerned about nature, conservation, and you have people on both parties who are concerned about conservation. That's not typically I guess it's a little bit more of a liberal thing, but both parties. People care about the environment in general, right? So let's say I'm on a Republican Party, and I want to target people. I'm a big outdoorsman, and I want to target people who are also outdoorsmen, conservationists, whatnot. Not just hunters, but maybe we split up hunting from just pure outdoorsmen and serve two different messages to them, right? One talks about, let's say, the support for the NRA, hunting policy issues, and the other one talks about national parks and your position on that, funding for X, Y, and Z. So you have two different audiences in mind, and these are small audiences, right, in terms of like all of the United States. You create two pieces of content to them, tailor to each audience, and you put, your policy positions, your spin, your messaging, just purely your messaging into that. Serve it to both audiences, and you're going to get a much better response than if you didn't segment. So in general, the more segmentation when it comes to online advertising, the better you're going to do. And that's true for any organization, not just politics, nonprofits, businesses, what have you. Very rarely is there a situation where that doesn't buck the trend. And especially when it comes to messaging. You want your message to be highly targeted to a certain audience. And the power of these platforms is, one, their targeting's phenomenal. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Facebook's targeting is unprecedented in the history of advertising. It's not even close. Not even close. If you go back, let's say 15 years ago, marketers, advertisers could only dream of this level of data. Could only dream of it. And the scale, right? The pure scale of how many people you can reach. Who do you know that doesn't have a Facebook account? Everyone I know has a Facebook account. The pure scale is, combined with that targeting, is powerful. And what that means is there's very little spillage in your audience. All right, spillage is defined as targeting a certain group of people, but you're hitting people around that. So let's say I'm going to advertise, let's say I have a toy and I want to advertise on Nickelodeon, just normal TV advertising. And let's say, that's a bad example. Oh, yeah. All right, let's say that the toy is for people age 14 and up, right? Something with choking hazard, maybe robotics, who knows? Well, there's going to be people under the age of 14 who are watching Nickelodeon. They're not within your target demographic. That's the spillage, right? So you're paying those ad dollars, but not everyone that you're trying to target fits your, not everyone you're targeting fits that demographic. On Facebook, on LinkedIn, on these social platforms, there's very little spillage that occurs. So your ad dollars, your campaign, your ad set, your ad is targeted to the people you want and nobody else. And sometimes, sometimes the data might not be the best, but for the most part, it's solid stuff. The sheer amount of data Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitter less so, but Facebook, Instagram have on people's online habits, or Google, right, is astounding. It's a huge amount of data. So not only can you segment down to a very detailed level, and right, you can serve certain pieces of content that work well with your base, right? And then you can serve pieces of content, and when I say pieces of content, video, images, memes, right? Memes is content now. All sorts of different things. So you could serve one to your base, you could serve one to independents, and that could have two different messaging. And it could be political independents who are also moms, who have a newborn baby, and they live in this district. You can go deeper if you want. There are people with a net worth of $1 million plus who live in Santa Monica, California, who drive Fords. Right? You can serve a piece of content to that. It's almost an endless list of segmentation. I don't know how many possible targeting combinations there are for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, but there's a lot. And so a really good political operation will see this level of segmentation, create ads or create pieces of content around them, right? We want to do really well with the Hispanic mothers in Eastern Florida for some reason, who are politically independent, right? You can get down to that level of detail. And you know, if you know ahead of time, you want that audience to hear your message, create that content piece, create that piece of content, build out that campaign and send it on to them. And so that's the power of, of digital advertising in 2018 for a political campaign. And now we can talk about the ease of donations. We can talk about building an audience. We can talk about deeper levels of engagement, higher favorability ratings, right? What would you rather have a person who sees your ad do? Would you rather have them just watch your ad on TV, right? When they're probably on their phone anyways during a commercial, if they even have TV that has commercial, right? That's pretty optional these days. Or serve an ad to a mobile device, right? They see the ad, watch the video, and then they click on it, go to your website and learn more about you. That is a deeper level of engagement than passively hearing or listening to an ad on TV, because most of those eyes, when those commercials are being served, hate to say it, most of those eyes right down here at the phone. I mean, how much is television commercials just radio now? Because people aren't looking. It's a hard thing to measure, but guarantee it's gotten more and more and more. And you know it, right? You know it because you know how much time you spend on your phone. So, I mean, and when I talk about Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, these channels have different targeting options. Well, not really Facebook, Instagram. It's one advertising backend. But Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, Instagram, they have different creative works differently on those platforms. There's certain different limits to those platforms. All of this has to be planned out ahead of time, right? So if I'm going to run in, when's the next presidential election? 2020? If I'm going to run in 2020, I'm going to start thinking about this stuff in 2018, right now, right? I'm going to start thinking about, okay, I need to hit these demographics, these interests on these platforms. I'm going to start building that list. I'm going to start building up my audience. I'm going to start building up my emails, all of these things. And I'm going to start planning out content pieces, start executing on content pieces. That's how you run a modern day political advertising campaign. Lots of planning, lots of content work, lots of segmentation. You're gonna have the best results. Your television ad, your billboard, your radio ad, I hate to say it, but it's not effective. Not anymore. Not anymore. People's eyes aren't there. So, and so this video didn't go into a whole lot of the how-tos, but it should give you, if you are in a position to run a advertising campaign for, let's just say a city council or, I don't know, any of them, right? Any of them. I hope this gives you an idea of what to think about, what to execute on, and how to structure this campaign. Remember, segmentation's your friend. Plan out who you want to target beforehand, create content pieces around them, and then serve those ads and engage with your audience. And maybe in future videos we can talk how to get out the vote using digital advertising. We can talk about building your lists with digital advertising. We can talk about all that sort of thing. But for right now, the content piece. Plan out those audiences, create that content, segment. All right, if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you hit like, subscribe, you shared it, you commented it. If you got any value out of this video at all, please like, share, subscribe, comment. That'd be great. I'd only know if you're getting value from those signals. If you just watch, passively watch, and I'm guilty of this too, and don't do anything, it's hard for me to know. Was this video good? There's not a whole lot of feedback, right? So I would love feedback. And also, if you need any help with setting any of this up or planning this, you got a political campaign you want to do, feel free to reach out. I'd be more than glad to help. So again, this has been Ryan McDonald at Shade Digital, and thank you very much.